Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. So we are back this week. Let me reintroduce myself. So my name is Narnique Grant, Narnique Pierre Grant. I was a former candidate for school board. I also am an advocate for our community. And this is our platform that I share with my co-host, Sandra Sheffer, who will be on shortly. And we talk about race, politics, and everything in between. And so to remind and recap everybody, if you are watching from YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching on Facebook, please like our page and go onto YouTube and like, subscribe, and share. This platform was birthed out of the past year and a half, 2 years. We been struggling with police brutality against Black people, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and it was birthed out of frustration, two Black women talking together and wanting to kind of make a platform where we can advise and not only advise, but let people know what's going on with politics, local politics especially, and the importance to be part of the political process, which means, i.e., voting, learning who your local elected officials are, holding them accountable. So we're back again this week, and we have a special guest, Sharon Alexander. We have a couple of other people, hopefully, that will jump on. Last week, we talked about the morgue being erected in a community.
It's a medical examiner's office and forensic lab, as we were told yesterday.
Ma'am, it's a morgue. Okay, it's a morgue. We're not. There's no pleasantries here. It's a morgue. That's what it is. There's dead bodies in it. It's a morgue.
It's a morgue.
Next to babies, next to schools, next to people's homes, in people's backyards, they could see it. And we were very outraged, Sandra and I. We talked about it. We also had Mr. Percy on talking about it and how outraged the community was, because apparently the community was not consulted. Some people were consulted, but the community at whole, the whole of the community was not consulted. So there was a meeting yesterday. The person who brought that to fruition is Commissioner Dale Holenss. And that's who spearheaded it. That's who supported it. That's who decided that it was okay to be up in there. And so that's his name, and his name is on it. This is his district, and it is what it is. Call us a spade. We don't have time to mince words here with people. We want people to know facts. We want people to understand why it's important to be part of this political process. Why it's important to know your local elected officials, because these people are put in office to represent you. And if they're not doing the will of the people, they don't get to keep their jobs. That's just how it is. So, co-host, please introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are, or this is their first time watching our show. Like, share, subscribe.
Yep. Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Sandra Sheffer. I'm the other half of Race and the Races, all things race and politics. And we actually spent all of the last show talking about this. We found out about it the night before, and we're like, what they trying to do now? And so we talked about it the whole time last week. We did get some people to come on and give us some feedback. Like you said, Percy Johnson came on. We were getting some feedback from May Smith in the comments, who was the one who Narnique saw a post that May made. And then she sent it to me, and I'm like, wait, what they doing? And then I reached out to some folks that I know too, and they was like, yeah, this happening. They had a protest on Friday, which was on Sunrise Boulevard, and I believe that one was on 27th Avenue. And then they had another one on Sunday on Sunrise Boulevard at 441, and I believe there was one on Tuesday that was on like near downtown. I think the other one on Tuesday was like near Andrews or something like that. I was able to participate in Friday and Sunday, but not the one on Tuesday, because I be having the 9 to 5 that I gotta like deal with like during the day. So I wasn't there. But even with that being said, I did watch the entire session when they dealt with item number 57. And this is part of why we're continuing this conversation. Sharon Alexander, our special guest today, spoke at that event along with other HOA members, other community members.
Can we add Ms. Alexander spent the entire day there.
Correct.
Entire day there. They did not go to that 57 item until after 4 p.m. And I want people to understand that this is the dedication of a community, and that you have to spend the entire day where the mayor was profusely apologizing for having people waiting there the entire day. And I want people to understand that the whole day, Miss Alexander spent her entire day there waiting to have an opportunity to voice her concerns for her community. So I just, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, not at all. No. And we talk about, when we said the entire day, it started at 10 a.m. So I'm sure Ms. Alexander was there before 10, and she'll tell us that herself. Yeah. And we stayed on till the end of the call, which was after like around 6:30, 6:40, yes, or something like that. I believe it was like 2 or so hours after they had actually started at the end. We were well into like deep 6, like by the time it ended. So let's let Miss Alexander introduce herself. Another one of our guests, May Smith, is going to be coming on. So we'll need to do a lot of talking. We want them to educate the public about what it is that's going on, how they need to. They continue to need the support. And just because you don't live in that area doesn't mean you can't help, right? Because we need all of the commissioners to agree to reverse this decision, and for them to be like, nope, y'all got to find another location, go find some commercial place to put this, and leave folks alone. And we'll talk about the trauma of that and all of that. But yeah, go ahead, Miss Alexander. Speak on it. Tell us what's happening with the morgue, what y'all are doing, what y'all need people to do, in order for us to make sure this doesn't happen, and that it wasn't just some slick talking that happened on yesterday.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Alexander. I'm from the Golden Heights community. And the thing is, this morgue, from what we understood, and we keep finding stuff out as we go along, they purchased the land in 2017. However, this whole thing came about in 2016. So yesterday, we were very shocked and surprised when we heard this started all the way back in 2016. And the thing about it is, the 1 and 2 associations that they had gone to, they did that in October and November of 2019. Look how much time has passed. So by the time they actually got to Rock Island community, Lake Air community, Dillard community, it was already done. They had already made their decision. Even when those communities said no, and they said, well, we're only, it's a thought process. We're thinking about doing this. It's not something that is written in stone. And they came back to them and they said, it is done. So they were very deceived by the elected officials, very deceived by Dale Holenss, because what he did was, they sold this as if it was, just a casual, like you're going to the mall. I mean, they made it sound like this was a wonderful place you would want to be in. And this is something that was being placed directly next to an elementary school that housed 440 students. This is where our babies go to school. This is where our community is. It was directly behind Lake Air, directly behind Golden Heights, and they just built a 125-unit apartment complex. And this was going to be right directly next to them also. Directly next to our other school board building, where we have nursing programs going on, where we have the ESE department, where we have CTA's department, where they have a school there also, like I said, for the nursing students, which deal with live bodies. And the thing about it is, Dale Holenss, after we had the town hall, he went and they put out this whole big flyers, put his name on it, put his picture on it, signed it and everything, stating that the school board was on board with him. School board said they were not on board with him.
Wait a minute. Didn't know about that. Hold on. Back up just a little bit. So are you saying to me, because I wasn't aware, and I went to the protest on Sunday and I wasn't aware, are you saying that Commissioner Holenss made it look like the school board was aware of what was going on?
He said the school board approved the building of that morgue. They approved that to be out there. And they were going to partner up with this program so that they would bring a forensic or some type of forensic program at ASH to the community. That's not true.
After ASH is also the Atlantic Technical Center. Is that the same one and the same? Because
it's the same place.
Yeah, they use those names interchangeably. But yeah, so it's the Atlantic Technical School that I believe have like some different programs also on site.
Yes, so they have GED programs. They have program for nursing. So they're popping out nurses into the field right now, which is what we need for COVID time. This is what we need right now is medical. We don't need anything that's for the dead. You know,
so I was watching the commission meeting yesterday. So I want to say she is the manager, the city manager,
County manager,
Miss Henry.
County manager,
the county administrator.
I'm sorry, yeah, county administrator.
There was a question the mayor asked her, and the mayor asked her, "Was this property specifically purchased for this project?" She replied, "Yes." And yes, May, you were going to say something, May?
Yeah, I was stunned by that.
I was shocked because the way it was presented, it seemed like this was something that came out like in around 2017, 2018. It wasn't something, but apparently not apparently, what she said on record was that that place was specifically purchased for that facility in 2016. It
was February 2017.
Yeah, they purchased it in 2017.
It was February 2017.
At the town hall, we
out in 2016 specifically for that project.
Correct. And we asked a question because we asked to go in front of the commission since back in July because we know the commission was coming back in August. So we asked to be on the agenda in July. We put a request in. So that this way, this would have been able to come in front of the commissioners to be addressed. We got shut down. What they did was they gave us a town hall. And at that specific town hall on September the 1st, it was a limited number of people were allowed to be there because they said it was COVID, social distancing. This was held over at the library next to Oswald Park, Lane Bryant Library. And the rest of the folks had to go on Zoom. So they made sure it was very controlled. It was very controlled in terms of who was allowed to be there, who was able to have their voice heard, so on and so on. And at that specific meeting, the question was asked to her, did you all choose any other sites? Was there any other place being considered to put such a place like this? The answer was no. This is the only place that we chose to do this at. No other was in consideration.
Let's let May introduce herself. You know, she's on screen. So go ahead and introduce yourself, May. Tell us who you are, what you do. You bought this heat. You bought this heat. And so, now they're listening. Yeah, May bought the smoke. She posted something and tagged like 99 people in it. And brought the smoke.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for having this show on and talking the continued conversations that you're having circled around this, because this is what we need. We need to continue to have conversations until this matter is completely resolved. Hats off to Alexandra and John Morrison for working very hard to try to get this thing stopped a long time ago. The unfortunate thing, who we all should be able to reach out to and get support. Unfortunately, they all failed them. So I just thank God for our path crossing. I happened to hear about the September 1st meeting. I think someone sent me a flyer or a newspaper article or something. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I sent it to Christine Jones, over the president or vice president of Lauderdale Manors. Mm-hmm. She had no idea. So when she had no idea, I said, something ain't right here. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I seen Miss Sharon on Channel 7 News. I think it was 7 or 4. Was it 7?
I started off with Channel 4 and then worked our way up to 7.
Okay. So one of those news broadcast, and I saw her on, and I said, I got to figure out where this lady at. I got to find her. And I end up, I don't remember who connected us, but I got her number. We start chatting. John and I start chatting, and we just got on the ball. Showed them how to do some things to make you get answers. And right now, it's the right time to not stop, because it's voting season. And if this happened to us, and I keep telling people, I don't hate people. I don't have a dislike to people, but I do dislike what you do. And when you bother community and the community calls on my help, it doesn't matter where you live. I will be coming to help you with your matter. I've been out in the community for 20 years. I've been president of my neighborhood for 12 years before stepping down to run for office myself. So the key thing is to know a lot of players and know who at the table, know who's doing what. And it was sad at that meeting yesterday. I was actually in my car coming back from dental appointment, rushing back downtown to try to get there, when I heard them say that this thing started in 2016. I'm like, what?
I was shocked.
Yeah.
And then they even mentioned something about they went to the state. Wait a minute now. Keep in mind, every time they mention someone else or some other entity, these are people who said they knew nothing about it. And now we're going to vote. And I pray and hope that everyone who can vote in District 20, listen to the recordings and pay close attention to who were at the table and did not do anything until the smoke started coming. Now we have to force out and do something.
Yes.
And early voting starts on Saturday.
Start on Saturday. Absentee ballots already out. Absentee ballots been out about 2 weeks.
Yes,
so,
2 weeks ago.
I'm hoping that people are paying attention. I keep telling folk, get away from the friendship vote, the cousin vote, because it's hurting us that's are on the ground, that's hard worker. Sharon can get a whole lot more done if y'all put the right people in office. And that would be somebody who ain't never sat in office before, who have not represented this district, to give them a chance, because you gave everybody else a chance already, and we got nothing. Everybody, I don't want to do it on your.
We may disagree on that, so we're not going to be endorsing no candidates today, because some of the people that have elected office are doing a good job, and they should be given an opportunity to do some other things. So we don't want to go ahead and be like, y'all endorsing people on the show. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. But there's definitely some people that have had their position that's handled it irresponsibly, and they should not be allowed to continue to represent folks, because clearly they are not representing the folks. So like,
and I definitely wouldn't come on doing any type of endorsement for anyone.
So we're all for, and we from the time we started this show, and actually before we started this show, I used to do things to the Democratic Women's Club, and I'm telling you, like, you doing a bad job, you shouldn't keep your job, and even if you're doing a good job, you shouldn't run unopposed, because you can always do better, right? So we're all for, people, nobody running unopposed. We're all for, like, if you ain't doing a good job, you don't get to keep it because we like you or we think you're cute and you're cool and all of that. But we definitely don't do that, But I don't want it to come. I don't want to leave the impression that we're saying that all the elected officials that are already running, that they've all done a bad job, So that part that's the only thing I really wanted to clear up, because I think some of them are doing okay, not all, but some of them are doing okay.
I'm gonna bite my tongue.
So let's continue the conversation. So now we had this meeting yesterday. Apparently the meeting was done it looks like just for the community to speak, because there was not an opportunity to vote on anything. And which I found a bit disappointing, because the way Mr. Holenss made it sound as if he's going to try to reverse it somehow, but really made people come there and really they couldn't do anything. That's one thing.
No, but I think it was important that they were heard. I think even though they weren't able to vote yesterday, those commissioners needed to hear from the wide range of individuals that showed up there and told them, like, no. I mean, there was a woman there who had been living in the neighborhood from 1965, right? So they needed to hear from her. They absolutely needed to hear from her.
No, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when elected officials present information to the people that they serve, they don't present the information in a way is being disingenuous. Is my point. Is what I'm saying. There's too much of that going on.
Well,
so
we can give Commissioner Holenss some credit for getting us on the agenda, because in all honesty, when I texted him about being on the agenda, he could have very well said no or ignored the text altogether. And he didn't do that. He did go ahead and give us a date in court, per se. Having said that, it educated us even more of what was really going on and what has gone on. So, but we just got to say thank you anyways, because he did get us to the floor. If he had not put the item on, no one else could bring that item to the floor, because none of the others district, they didn't represent our district.
Right. So the question I have is that the information, according to the county administrator or the manager, stated that this was presented to the community. The information that was presented yesterday, was that the same information that was presented to the community that they did speak to?
No, well, actually, they even said that so in the meeting, they said that what they presented in the meeting was an edited version of what was actually presented to the public, and then they may have been 2 additional slides that were added. So what they showed, I forgot that young lady's name who presented it. They even admitted that that's not what they showed to the public. They added 2 additional slides, and I mean, I have a perspective on what I saw. I think they sold it as something else, but that's just me. Let's let the ladies from the community talk about that.
Well, they made this thing look like. Go ahead, man.
Frankie Lane, he was the president at that time of Rock Island, I think you said.
Yes, Rock Island.
Well, he was supposed to come yesterday and he wasn't there. Like, first they thought he was in the building. He wasn't there. He was supposed to be on the phone. He wasn't on the phone. So I don't know what happened with him.
He was there. He was there. And then he was asked to leave.
Oh, he was
his president asked him to leave.
So the first protest that was did on Friday, I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Lane, thinking he was John Morris, because I had never met John Morrison in person.
Okay.
And started chatting, and he said that he was actually for the event, for the project. And I said, well, if you're for the project, why are you here? He said, because now the people don't want it, so I don't want it. And I said, well, why are you changing your mind if your mind really for it? And he said, well, Dale changed the plans. And I asked him what the plans were originally. What was he presented? He would not tell me that. So next thing I know, he was gone, just like he was yesterday.
Oh, so I guess there's something to that. There's a conversation to be had there too. Then, because they were calling his
conversation to be had.
They were calling his name because they thought he was in the building. He wasn't there. And then they said, "Oh no, he's gonna be on the phone." And then they were calling his name on the phone, and Mr. Frankie Lane. And I don't know him, never met him. Yesterday was the first time I heard that name, but I do know that the commission was looking for him. So it's interesting.
Well, I did hear someone in the background during the meeting said he was asked to leave. So somebody said that. Somebody said that he was asked to leave.
Yes.
But so Mr. Lane was the president at the time this presentation was presented. Was Mr. Lane the only association that was presented this information?
Well, in October, according to what the record says, in October of 2019, they went to Rock Island. They presented it. Over 60% of the people who were there said they did not want it. And they went ahead anyhow. They came back in December, and apparently in some quiet way, stuff was signed off by the homeowner president at the time, even though the association said they were not for it. Now, the thing about this whole thing is the associations in this area, the HOAs are not mandated. So you don't necessarily have to be a part of the homeowners association. So as a result of it, everyone should have been notified via US mail. They should have had signs posted all around the community that they're planning to bring this type of development. The homeowners should have been properly educated prior to him making this decision to say, this is where we want to put this type of development. That did not happen. And that's where Dale Holenss, as our representative, failed us.
Now, is there a policy in the county that states that that was something that should have been done prior to? And I'm just throwing things out there so we can see what recourse we have, if any, to have this reversed. So is there something in the ordinance or in the county that says every homeowner needs to be at least sent this in the mail, or there should be signs saying this is what we're proposing, come to this meeting, have, or do like a notice, a public notice? Is that something that the county should have done?
Yes, for the simple reason that whether it's the county, whether it's the city, every major project and anything that of that magnitude, this was not a little $10 building. You know, this is millions of dollars what we're discussing here. So something like that needed the public to be completely involved in it. The community needed to be aware of what was coming so that they could have had a voice in it. And that did not happen. They failed on their own policy of notification because, and I'll tell you this, we're in an election cycle. Everybody is getting mail from everywhere. You know, come voters registration, you name it, we get it. We get all of our tax bills. We get all of our trim notices. So why this is any different from any of the above, you know? And that's where also, they failed.
Right. And since it's such a big budget, right? Because they also talked about how much this building is going to cost. They said it's like $205 million that this project is going to cost, right? So if you got that kind of money, at the very least, you should have been able to do a mail out, because we have candidates that's mailing stuff out to everybody in the district. So the county cannot tell me that they could not afford to mail out something to everybody that lived in that particular area. So, you know, if they wanted the people to at least know, they could have did a flyer with their presentation or whatever that is. That so it couldn't have been a financial reason on why it is that in fact didn't take place, right? And then I know they said that there's some expenditures that have already been made. I think they can cut their losses on that, you know, because yes, you spent, you know, I think they said they spent like $6 million already. There's still $199 million that they got. You ain't lose most of your money. You can move on from this because the people have already spoken. And then there was another one of the commissioners who made a point that you know, the land value has gone up. They could probably sell the land for more than $6 million because the community said we need a grocery store or urgent care, right? So sell it to Care Spot or sell it to Baptist Health or Memorial Health and let them build an urgent care in that community because that's what the people need and not the facility that they want, right? So I think there's definitely options that they have that'll be more beneficial to the community. There's some other points I want to make, but I'll let you guys can go ahead.
May has to go. May, you have another meeting, right? Do you want to say a final thought before you go?
Yes, I'm a part of the Sierra Club, so I'm in charge of membership, and I scheduled a meeting that I got to get out to. So I apologize for having to cut out, but you have the head person, Sharon, on who can keep. I'm sure she can share everything with you. And just know that we're not done yet. The community, we will be out in full force continuously with the protesting, and we will not stop until we get the answer we're looking for. So we allowing them a breathe moment now, but we will be back out. I'm waiting for Sharon to tell me when we'll be ready to go again, and we'll be back out on another corner. We're going to move through this district so that everyone knows what's going on, because a lot of people still doesn't know. And you can tell by the outrage of what you're hearing now that there's no way they were informed the correct way. And as I said to Commissioner Holenss, as president, major issues I never did without doing everything I can to get the people to the table first.
Right.
I used to go to those homeowners meetings when I was president because I like to move around and see what's going on. Sometimes you only had 5 people in the room. You can't make a decision with that small number. That ain't even 10% of the community. That you would hope to get in order to make a decision. So Sharon, kudos to you and John, and keep doing the good work that you're doing. Sandra, thank you, and Nanik for staying on the battlefield and keeping us informed and keep bringing these candidates up so people can hear. I appreciate all of you so much, and I look forward to continue to work with you.
All right.
Thank you, May.
Thank you, May. You've been awesome.
Thank you.
So Miss Alexander, this is not off topic, but it is kind of off topic. So the sheriff came, made a statement, and didn't give you the courtesy to even stay behind to have a conversation. I'm quite offended.
Well, let's find out. Maybe he was talking to them before he started talking to the public. So, Michelle was in the room since 10 in the morning. I think he was there. So
the sheriff,
maybe he spoke with her. Maybe he spoke with her.
Well,
no.
Look at you trying to get a reprieve for the sheriff.
I'm trying to get him there, give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was talking to the people before he stood up there.
All right. All right, man, co-host. Okay.
So
all right,
we
did he
spoke
talk
with
to
the
you before
sheriff.
he stood up?
I will give you for Sheriff Tony at the town hall on September the 1st. I give him major kudos for standing up, and he said, you vote people in office. And if they're doing something that you do not agree with, you need to vote them out. And he also mentioned that we need to hold him accountable also for his office because he was voted in. So he made that clear to everyone. He did ask for us to come to him for concessions, but we haven't reached out to him as yet. And we're about to make an appointment with him to discuss things with him. But our goal was not for concessions, because our goal was not to have this property built. Our goal for our community is to be able to have an urgent care, have some doctor offices, have some things, some other facilities for the elderly. We have 440 students in the elementary school that do not have a proper place for before care. So there are so many needs that we need with that last one piece of vacant land that we have in our community. Why do we want to take that to build some monstrous place that does not serve us? So that's why we're asking. And we said, and I made that clear yesterday at the commission's meeting, this land do not need to be sold. We would like to partner up with the North Broward Hospital District to bring the urgent care, bring the imaging areas and different things in that we could serve the community. We had two of the commissioners yesterday speaking item number 44, and they were discussing about some imaging things that they wanted to bring on board, which would be for cancer, all different types of cancer, and all different types for you to detect heart disease early. So we asked, please partner up with us with that, because our community suffers from all of the above. We have so many things that they're already suffering from Lake Stupid, from the Wingate, all of these things, which is going to be another topic coming up soon, because now we found out Wingate has been sold, and they're planning to build on Wingate. That's a whole nother topic. That's another invite. So
what do you think about the comments of the sheriff saying that how all of a sudden this is just a rumor and political innuendo and all of that stuff? That was his statement, because he said, first you guys were okay, now all of a sudden they're changing because it's really all political and all innuendos and rumors. What's your thought on that?
So our first meeting that we had with the sheriff was at the town hall. That was the first time we had an opportunity to meet with the sheriff and had a conversation with him. So for him to say that there were so many meetings that happened prior, not so much. Golden Heights never met with any of this. They never came to meet with us until May of 2021. That was our first visit, because we reached out to Mr. Hawks, David Hawks.
Wow.
And when we found out in late 2019, November 2019, reached out to David Hawks several times to say we need to meet. We need to come together and have this meeting because we're totally in objection to this. Never happened. 2020 came, lockdown came about. We sent emails to all the county commissioners, to the mayor, all of these people. No one reached back out to us to say anything. anything at all.
All right, so I know you was trying to give like Chef Tony some props a second ago, and I got something to say to that. Okay, and I'm on full disclosure. I voted for him. I voted for him, but I wouldn't. That's not the
You
point.
won't vote for him again. I know
that's
that.
not what I was going. So he says, "Oh, if they're not doing a good job, vote them in, right? Vote them out," is what he said, right? However,
Correct.
That's not going to solve this problem right now. He has a job. Their Holenss already have the job. I think they got the job till about 2024. So by the time you get to vote them out, this thing would already be built. So all that talk, a lot of time people say stuff that sound all good, but they know that it don't matter. You know what I mean? So he could tell you to vote him out, but by the time you vote him out, there will be a 177,000 square feet like you call monstrosity in the middle of a residential neighborhood with an elementary and a technical school right next to it, right? So that whole talk about, well, vote them out if they don't like what they're doing, that's not going to solve this problem. This mess would already be done by the time people get an opportunity to vote him out of office. So yeah, okay, say that, but that's still not what we need to hear you talk about. And the other point that I want to make is I think it was extremely disrespectful that he did not stay there and listen to what the community had to say.
Well,
right?
but you didn't want me to say that. You was like, maybe he talked to the people. No, that was a.
Well, I want to Sharon to confirm that he spoke to them before that meeting. She told me he didn't, so now I could get in it, right? So it was completely disrespectful to not to talk to the people there because he told me, well, I gotta go because I got another meeting, bro. You probably had meetings all day because you've been sitting there for hours. So whatever meeting you had next, you could have rescheduled that meeting like you did the rest of them, because I'm sure your day wasn't clear before you heard that because this was a supplemental item to the agenda, right? So you had to reschedule stuff in order for you to be there and come make your statement, right? And so no, you should have stayed there and listened and take the heat and the smoke from the people if that's what they were bringing, so you can hear what it is that they want to say. And this whole thing about concessions, ain't nobody, like you said, y'all don't want it. Ain't nobody asked for that. And Bobby DeBose also spoke at that meeting. And one of the things he was talking about, it was like, they always want to know what it is that the people want, right? And he said, give the people what they want instead of what you think they need, right? So everyone's telling you, like, this is not what we want for the neighborhood. But since these commissioners who, I don't think any of them live there, but, I don't know, somebody live in the neighborhood. I don't know if any of them live in that community.
Not one of them live in our community.
Not a nan live in that community, and they're trying to tell people in that community what they should have in their yard. They're telling you, no, that is not what we want. We need a medical facility there. It's the county. You could put a medical facility there, build that. You know what I mean? Build that instead of something that the people who live there is telling you that's not what they want. And again, this show is about race, right? And that's one of those things where everybody always trying to tell Black people what they want and what they need. Black people telling you what they want and what they need, and you're not listening. So we need folks to start listening. We're telling you what you need and what we need and what we want. Listen to us. Don't be oh no, that's not what you want. We know what's best for you.
Stop dismissing people. Stop telling people how they feel and what they need. Stop dismissing a community that is screaming to you and telling you, we don't want it up in here. We find somewhere else to put that crap, but this is what we need. And instead of you giving the people what they need, you giving them what you want.
You won't do what you want to do.
So absolutely not.
And the sad part about it, and this is what we expressed when we wrote a letter to the commissioners months ago, we are anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes away from the nearest hospital. From North Broward, we have to go all the way to Holy Cross, or we have to go all the way to Broward General. The response time for anyone in an emergency is less than 7 minutes, so that they will not have brain damage. So we're talking about, if you take 20 to 25 minutes, you see what I'm talking about?
That's probably what no traffic, right? That's what all traffic.
Because that's the distance. You're talking about, we don't have the healthcare that we need in this zone. Nothing centralized for us. And this community, all these communities around in this whole Dillard, this whole zone, suffer from major different types of cancers, whether it's bloodborne, whether it's tumors, birth defects. I mean, you name it, they have it, because they've been sitting basically on toxic land all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say, give us a medical facility so that our elderly don't have to go all the way to north to go to Holy Cross, or all the way south to Broward General. And as we know, plantation is going away. So what do we have?
Nothing.
You know, so tell me again, why are you all saying you want to sell the land? There is absolutely no reason to sell the land.
It boggles my mind that they spent almost an hour or almost 2 hours on that item 44.
About 2 hours.
With about 2 hours with Commissioner Brogan. And in you know, he started off with, you know, black and brown people and this, that, the other. And here you have a whole community saying, hey, you talking about us, but where's the facility? What are we doing here? And then when I think it was Miss Alexander that brought it back to him and he was trying to correct her, she was like, but we still need to have this conversation so we can have a facility in our community. And
it wasn't Bogan. It was another guy who got mad because he said, "Oh, I represent what's the name?"
No, Brogan. That's Brogan's item.
No, it was Brogan's item, but they had said something about, you know, they worried about the community, and one of the guys said he worked. What's the place in Hollywood or Hallandale?
That was that commissioner.
It's some area. There's some community. I can't remember the name of it, right? Lebanon or someplace like that. I don't know. He said, well, I represent that neighborhood. I got black and brown people in my community. Liberia. He said, I represent. So he was all trying to get offended. Man, get out your feelings. This is not what nobody's talking about, right? Yeah. People are saying, you know, do it what it is that the community is asking for. And that's what's important. You know, to hear that, you know, you guys are so far from a hospital or a medical facility is disheartening. Because I literally live like a mile away from a hospital. I could walk there if I ain't too messed up, and if I call 911, they're gonna be at my house in a matter of minutes, right? So to hear that, you hear these things, and I always think of it in terms of like, oh, maybe that's something that happens in a country area. Now, country is saying rural, like maybe in a rural community, people may have to travel so far to get medical, but for you to be in a major city and then you got to go 25 minutes to get to a hospital,
that was Bobby DeBose is on. That was Commissioner Ryan that made that comment.
He was in his feelings.
He was in his feelings, and and that's the thing, they get on the defensive when we have real issues in our community. You know, I'm sick and tired of and then you know what? The other thing that irritated me was Nan Rich sat there and was basically, well, great presentation, and you know, I just want to.
I know her. She's a nice lady.
That's what we're doing. Your comment is great. You don't have a problem that babies are going to be next to a morgue. That you don't even comment on that, but you comment on a great presentation. All right, sis.
How nice the lady is.
Okay. So then we lose touch with
you. Know how nice she was. I was like, well, nobody asking about that. They telling you they don't want this in their backyard. So what about that part?
I don't get it. And then the county. What's her name again? Miss Henry, the
administrator. I'm
talking about, oh, my son went to Dillard. Okay, but ma'am, you don't live there. So just because your son went to Dillard, you're supposed to tell these people in the area what you want? Or are they supposed to tell you what they want?
But the fact of the matter is, her son went to Dillard in a STEM program to build robotics.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with working in an Emmy's office. And they already have so much issues in the Emmy's office where it's located now. It's on record. They have missing narcotics. It's on record. They have bags, these red bags that's supposed to hold whatever fluids, whatever come out of these bodies, that is not being kept properly and disposed of properly. So it's on record that they have all of these issues. That's why they don't want it there, want to bring it here, because the Black community, the Black and brown community, has been the dumping place for umpteens of years. And we're saying no more, not never, not on our watch.
I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of the level of the fact that the elected officials that we rely on can sit there and you know, and the thing is it's not taking accountability. You know, Commissioner Holenss, you know, said, well, the people don't want it, so I don't want it. But sir, why don't you just say, you know what, I messed up. I didn't do a thorough job of reaching out to my community.
Mm-hmm.
I think people would respect you a little bit more, would be like, okay, you know what? At least he's saying he's taking some accountability.
Girl, he's not going to take accountability for nothing.
The fact that he's throwing everybody in a mama.
He's not taking accountability. Listen. Holenss was the first District 20 candidate that we interviewed, right? And we learned that day, bruh man not about to take accountability for nothing, right? Even when he should. So he was not about to take accountability for this, right? But we do give him props for putting it on the agenda, because like May said, had he not done that, the other commissioners would not have been able to hear how people were feeling. But also remember, he the same person that went and apparently he sold them something different when they voted unanimously to do this, right? So, are you getting credit because you fixing a mess that you started in the first place? And then we're still not even 100% sure if it's going to resolve itself, and if so, what that's going to look like, right? Because like I always quote these, the Jamaican, like, prevention is better than cure. You know what I'm saying? So like now we're trying to cure a problem where it should have just been prevented in the very first place. Because had he done his due diligence and spoke to the community, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here trying to deal with it in this particular manner. So
I mean, what it does is it tells me he is completely out of touch with his community, because if he knew anything about our communities, he would know that anything that deals with debt, that deals with graveyards, we have a taboo about that. We're talking about this stuff will affect our children, and they're already traumatized as it is. When you start talking about, Uncle so-and-so and this one and that one, and the whole topic of debt. So we're talking about the psychological effect that this would have on our children. And we're going all the way back to what we're talking about 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. So, I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that point up, because it's also about like how they don't think about the trauma to Black folks, right? It's like, we're constantly being traumatized, constantly having to get through our day in so much stressful and traumatic situations, right? And you're right. Like someone's walking by there, like the medical examiner, it's gonna be a trauma facility, and kids gotta walk to school every day and see something like that. And it's like, why don't they? The question is always like, why don't you care, or why don't they care about the mental health of people of color, especially Black kids? Like, we should not have to deal with things like that at all. We should not have to deal with that. They should not have to go to school every morning knowing that there's dead bodies in that place, right? And when you say about funerals, my like, I didn't go to a funeral. The first time I went to a funeral, I was 21 years old. Imagine that. The first time I went to a funeral, I was 21. And I could still count on my both hands how many funerals I've gone to just because of that whole thing, right? And when my dad passed away, I struggled with whether or not I was going to have my children go to the funeral, because I was like, I didn't go to a funeral until I was 21. Like, how am I going to have these, 6-year-olds go into that place? So that point you make about how we deal with that issue in our community is very different, and it's traumatic, and they should know that. Like, how are you not culturally sensitive to that?
Welcome.
Welcome,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you all doing?
Happy anniversary. Yes.
Happy anniversary.
We're continuing the conversation from yesterday. We have Miss Alexander, who was a key person who really brought this to a light for us, and to kind of give us some give us some background of what's going on. And I have to tell you, the information they had before and the information after the meeting is quite shocking. This has been brewing on since 2016, and then it's been presented to people. Miss Alexander said they didn't have their first meeting till May of 2021. I mean, it's outrageous. But you, sir, were there representing in the community, was there part of the community, and you had a conversation.
Because he actually lives there. He lives in the neighborhood, right?
And we want you to talk a little bit about, what you discussed at the meeting and what your feelings are, since you are a resident of this community.
And there may be some allegations that y'all knew about it and y'all didn't tell the people. So just to clear that up too.
Right.
Oh Lord. So yeah, all of that. So in this particular issue, I wear two hats. And that's the thing. Yes, I am a representative, but I am a resident of that community. And so many times, folks, I think they do intertwine the two. So you have to wear both hats. You have to take on the responsibility of both. I guess the first thing I'll probably address, because I keep hearing this over and over, people are saying, "Uh-oh, did you lose me?"
Nope, you're there. We see you. You're there. I think he might be frozen on his end, even though we can see him.
He's frozen now. He's frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen now. So
he'll pop back.
Yeah, we'll give him a chance to pop back in, because even when it does that, it'll still come in.
So we'll go back to you, Ms. Alexander. So they've now made a decision that they're going to put it on the agenda in November.
For November 4th. For the
November 4th.
November 4th.
And what does that entail? What's going to be happening on November 4th?
So November 4th is where the full commission is going to meet again, and they're going to bring this item up for a vote. And that vote would be to determine that they're not going to move ahead with it, or that vote is to determine that they're going to stand their ground and say they want to build it.
Okay. So in the meantime, I heard the county manager mention something about putting something on hold because she didn't want to go back to procurement and do the process all over again. So in the meantime, was this because of the meeting yesterday, or this was once it happens in November, that will take place?
No, all of this has a lot to do with yesterday. There were commissioners who were ready to vote on it and vote in our favor, but because of all the things that they, all the legal stuff that they have to go through and all of those things, they put it for the 4th, November 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have to show up.
Yeah.
We still have to be there in numbers, and we still have to be able to let them know that the decision that they make in that room on the 4th has to be in our favor.
Right. And then so the protests need to continue every other day, or every day if you can, on all these corners. Let them know, continue emailing them, and let them know that people are not happy with this, and keep reiterating the people are telling you what they want and what they need in that neighborhood, and that ain't it, right? And that's not to benefit that community, because they always try to make it seem like, oh, well, it's going to benefit the community. No, it's not. It's not. When she even talked about it, she said it was about 230 jobs that would be in that facility. Remind you now, these facilities already, those offices already exist, and they have people that already work there. So only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to have a new nice building, and the people that already have them jobs are going to be transferred over to work there. So it ain't going to be it ain't even going to be no 230 jobs coming into that neighborhood. What's coming is traffic and noise. Okay.
Exactly.
And then one of the other commissioners was trying to say how, there's crimes need to be solved. Like yeah, we're not saying that don't need to happen. It just don't need to happen there, right? We're not. No one saying that we don't want y'all to have a facility, even though it's state in the heart art and it's a very nice building. No one cares. It don't need to happen there, right? And no one cares in the sense that it's state of the art and it's beautiful and all of that type of stuff. That's still not going to change the mind that people don't want a morgue next to elementary school, and that's what it is. And he was saying, well, the state of the arts is this and all the technique. We need to be able to solve the murders and all of that kind of stuff. No one's saying that y'all don't need to be solving the murders, but y'all just don't need to put that building there to solve the murders. That building is not going to bring jobs into that neighborhood. It's not. And the school board has already said they have not developed any curriculum to work with that officer. Not to say that they can't do it, but they didn't say that they're going to do it. And even if it's in another location, they could develop that curriculum and have them students go to that other location. So all of this stuff that they're trying to sell.
See, the thing about it is the school board already have all of their curriculum for all of their schools. So they're not planning to do something new because they said it. And the question goes back, what do they currently have in place now? What scholarships are they offering? What have they been doing in the neighborhood and the community that they have been in? Nothing. Mm-hmm. There are no scholarships out there for none of our Black and brown kids, as they said, to be able to have that type of a job. It's not there. Hasn't been done.
and they're always making promises to do something so they can get what they want, right? It would have been better if it was already there. It was already there, right? But no, now you want to make the promise to do something because you're trying to get something in return. I'm old enough that I remember when they introduced the lotto, and the lotto was supposed to do all of these things for public education. Please, it did not. It did not. It did not. It continues not to do anything. So all of this talk about, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. No, y'all making promises to get what you want. And there's a reggae artist that says, promises are comfort for a fool. I mean, somebody else said it first, but I learned it from the reggae song. A promise is a comfort for a fool, and ain't nobody trying to be no fool no more. Okay?
No more.
No
We've
more.
had enough. We've had enough. We've had enough. You cut off in your back, Representative. Jump on.
I have another meeting to jump into, but I'm going to keep myself in the background. So if you all need me, I'll jump back in. So I can be here so I can hear Representative Bobby DeBose.
So, but give us some reminders, tell the people what they need to keep doing, how they can help. Go ahead, tell us all that.
Saturday, we have a town hall Saturday, 4 p.m. at Oswald Park. This is for all of the communities, for anyone who want to come on board, who want to help. We're going to be able to educate them as to what's going on and what our next step is and our next location for our next protest, because our next protest is going to be right at the site, and we're going to be walking from there all the way along to the elementary school and back. So all of this stuff, the logistics will be worked out, and they'll have that information.
So Oswald Park, I think, is that the one that's in like on 21st or something like that in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes.
Okay.
21st Avenue.
Okay, so we'll get the
Saturday,
address
4 p.m.
Okay, we'll put that in the chat.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before you go, listen, I just want to say thank you for your efforts. You've been a champion on this, and your consistency. And I really didn't get a chance to talk to you yesterday afterwards, but it was a long day. And the fact that everyone stayed and endured. And before you go, I just will share this, though. Just kind of knowing and being on both sides of this equation, this is only the first step. There's a whole lot more work that needs to be done. But I could tell that you've been eating your Wheaties and you're ready for the long haul. So I just wanted to personally say thank you. Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you too. And I've had John Morrison. I mean, I beat up on John. I'm like, John, what are we doing next? He's like, come on, Sharon. Let me get you a massage because we got to get in here. We got to stay in the fight. So we're in the fight for the long haul. And we're going to be in the fight for that Wingate. That Wingate thing that they're planning to do. That construction they're planning to build in Wingate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was going to get into that a little bit too, because, I did mention a little bit in my remarks, but this is more comprehensive than, what we're dealing with the morgue, Wingate, baby Wingate. But if we're going to talk about in a comprehensive manner, what folks don't realize is that there are areas that we drive around in the Northwest that under the ground, there's still like gas tanks that are still there, that are contaminated, that are eroded, that there once upon a time, because we were segregated and we couldn't go in certain parts, that a lot of the houses had gas stations. They had the businesses there, which made it challenging, and one day, if we get a chance, I would love for us to talk about Eula Johnson, who was the first female president of NAACP, and the NAACP office was a house, but she too had a gas station out front. So you can only imagine being that bold and that brave and having the thought of someone coming and they would come and they would, light houses on fire and stuff like that. So when we start talking about this, I think this is the beginning of something that should be so much greater. But if we're going to address this issue, we got to be in it for the long haul because future generations depend on our actions today.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
No, thank you so much. So thank you so much, Ms. Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and spending the time with us. Yeah, no, we appreciate you. We appreciate you in all that we do. And we're going to Try to be there on Saturday too.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you guys. And I will be giving you a call, Representative. I will be giving you a call tomorrow so we could coordinate some things. And I truly appreciate you. And I mean, on behalf of our community, I truly, and we all truly appreciate all the efforts that everyone has made, you know, to come out, to give us the support, just to lend a voice, whether it was to hold a sign up, whether it was to give a flyer, whether it was to send out a text or an email or get on live chat, you know, every bit helps. And we're asking, and we continue to ask everyone to be able to do so, because the fight is not done. And as Representative just said, you know, we have to be in this thing for the long haul, because it's so much that has been done and continues to be done to our Black and Brown community. And we have to be the voice. We have to be the voice. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And if you want to, you can hang out or go. It doesn't matter. But we'll, you know, if we haven't.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Okay. Thanks. I'll have it playing in the background. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
So, Representative, go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you felt yesterday, and talk about some of the comments you made, and why this is so important that the community is heard on this issue.
So how I felt about yesterday, man, I was tired. We was there from about 10 a.m. to about 6 p.m. But, you know, no one said that the race was going to be swift, right?
Yeah, they did not say that.
All day. I was like, they're going to break for lunch. What you mean they're going to break for lunch?
No, okay. And there was...
Wait, so when I got back on, I saw item 44. I was like, wait, what happened? Did I miss it? And they're like, no. We're about to talk about item 44 for 2 hours. And I swear, I was like, yo, they out here stalling. They stalling. They didn't want none of that smoke, right? No moderate smoke, no smoke, no jerk smoke,
no. Yesterday was about the smoke. The smoke. We, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's really unfortunate that sometimes it takes all day, and sometimes that will contribute to people leaving. So I say that, take it as an example as things, you know, arise in other communities where you have to go and show up, but be prepared to, I see President Marsha Ellison saying they tried to wait us out.
They sure did.
You know? They tried and they failed.
The
president was like, they said, is Marsha Ellison here? She said, yes, I am. She was like, yes, I am.
You know, and that's what we have to do. And what really shined for me more than anything, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little pissed off, and, you know, my remarks were not directed at the district commissioner, but he really did drop the ball. And when it became, because initially I was at the meeting, at the Lauderdale Manors meeting, and they were on him about it. And he said, you know what, y'all against it, so I'm gonna vote against it. So I was like, okay. I didn't say anything. I waited to the end, and I stood there and I said, you know what, Commissioner Holenss, if you are going to fight for the community on this issue, then I'm going to put the election and politics aside, and I'm going to follow your lead. And because I know what it takes, you're going to need all of us to go and talk to your colleagues and convince them, and because they have their position on this. And as I sat there all day, and then when we spoke, and then to hear the county commissioners take the position, like, I didn't know this. I wouldn't have voted for that. What is this? And then afterwards to have conversations with them, and they're like, I'm not in support. I didn't know. And then when you go and you kind of look through the backup on this and find out that it was presented 6 times, and then one of those times, you know, the county commissioner, Del Holenss, was the mayor. And so, you know, he was driving the bus at one, you know, when this issue came through. And so, you know, for me, I tell people I can work, and I ain't gotta like you, but if it's something for the community, let's do it. And that's what I thought we were doing until I got there. And I was just like, man, you know, this is smoke and mirrors. So I just felt that was disingenuous, and I'm upset. As much as I was willing to stand behind Commissioner Holenss and, follow his lead, I'm in the same posture to call him out on this one, bro. And I think I heard somebody say earlier, you make a mistake, just say I'm wrong. Say I'm wrong. I made a mistake, and let's correct the mistake. But all this little shell game, and that's the way it felt. I just felt it was a little disingenuous because to come to find out that you presented this all those times, and then to understand that folks were not engaged, and then your colleagues to say they didn't have a clue. Come on, man. Come on.
And so, and to our surprise, Cassandra and I were watching, and we were texting each other back and forth. We were sitting here, and I was like, these people acting like they didn't know what was going on. Like, these people look kind of, they're like, well, can we sell it? Can we get rid of it? Can the people say, like, to me, if they were well versed in what was going on, they would have fought a little harder, be like, okay, well, listen, this is what it is. I mean, like, one of them did it. I can't remember which one it was.
Well, they would have made sure the notice was like really there was notice. And I actually, when I was driving home today, they're building something on like between Pembroke Road and Pines on 145th. There's a big old sign out there that says there's a meeting about the development of this project. Show up on this date and time. Mind you, they done broke ground, but they still telling people what's going on as the project is going on. And I'm like, they didn't put a sign out in front of the big old lot to let the people know that's what they were doing. At the very least, they could have did that, put a sign out, say, yo, we about to bring the trauma center and medical examiners here. Here's the meeting. I live in an association. They have a sign in the front of the gate, even though it's like old fashioned with the little letters to say, meeting Thursday at 7 p.m. Here's the Zoom link. They got a sign right outside the gate telling us that there's a meeting about some stuff that's going to affect us, right? So you going to tell me, like, if you really wanted the people to know, they could have put a sign outside on that lot, and since they own it, they're not trespassing.
The level of disrespect
and tell people what they were doing.
It's the level of disrespect for me for that community. The fact that and you know what is beyond disingenuous, Rep. You're being nice. That is beyond disingenuous, okay? Because you let that come up 5 times. You don't tell the big players in the community, hey, this is what's going on. I need to get people on board. I need to reach out to the people who are really down on the ground, boots on the ground. You don't reach out to the NAACP president. You don't reach out to the major association people. This is what you're doing, and then you have the audacity to sit there. Well, the people don't want it. I'm voting with the people.
And the thing I heard is about they talked to the principal of one of the schools. I'm like, you talk to the principal and not the school board member? Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that was the other thing. There is no agreement with the school district. I mean, you could clearly the school board member, who happens to be the chair, didn't know about this. And let's just back up and think about the fundamentals and the academics. Okay, so I serve on the body with 8 other people. And they were shocked and they didn't know, or maybe they just all at the same time decided to have the same reaction. And then you go to the community, and the vast majority of the community didn't know because they said it was a few people, and like Judge Holmes said, look, she don't go to her own homeowners association meeting. So you mean to tell me that you're gonna, if you really wanted to communicate with folks on an issue this big, you would have a town hall meeting, I mean, he made the reference in that homeowner association meeting. He said, I'm at more meetings than any elected in here. Well, bro, you could have easily pulled somebody's sleeve and said, hey, by the way, I got this going on. What part of that, didn't cross your mind? So that's the part that I think, regardless of what you think, if you just look at the fundamentals of it, the community didn't know, the rest of your colleagues didn't know. But you are saying everyone knew, and you went through this process. Something don't smell right.
Remember, Rep. DeBose, he hired this group of folks. It was like 4 people that he sent out to the community, and they brought him back information that the people said they was okay with it.
Oh my God! Oh,
listen. Here's the thing.
I can't.
If you want to do outreach, you can go talk to a few people. But if you want to do true community engagement, you're going to have several town hall meetings. You are going to make sure you make every effort. You don't just go and talk to a handful of people. And listen, there are people in the community, in the district, that do that very same work. Not one of them was hired to go out and do that. I think one or two of them have a building that's right across the street. I mean, right on 6th Street, across the street from NAACP. These are things that I would think that you would engage your school board member, your state rep, your state senator, everyone up and down, the city commissioner, regardless of what. There's no agreement conversation with Fort Lauderdale PD or Broward School District.
And it said that there's going to be a substation for the Fort Lauderdale Police Department.
And that's another thing that I had an issue with. He talking about first it was like, and you heard the sheriff come and say, well, this is all for the community. We don't have any, this is just this, that, the other. But did we forget that the whole presentation said there was going to be a substation in there? And how disrespectful,
we don't know what y'all talking about.
Well, I mean, and how disrespectful do you come and you make a little speech and then you roll out and you part of the problem? I mean, I don't understand that. You just say what you got to say, and you said if anything is detrimental to the community, I'll be the first one to say, well, it is detrimental. The community is telling you they don't want it.
They should ask for some concessions.
We ain't
doing concessions. And that right there was, why do we have to ask for concessions? Why the whole time I heard was this. They were saying what was needed for BSO and what the county needed. Not one time did I hear about what the neighborhood needed. Listen, you need to listen to the neighborhood. I was telling folks, man, the Black community, we tired. We sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was like, after George Floyd, we got PTSD and we got to fight all these issues. I said, this is ridiculous. You got to listen to the community. And so, I will get.
Listen, my son go to Pompano. I'm going to tell people in Pompano.
Well, I was offended. I was offended.
I was too.
And when the county administrator said, somebody said I don't live here, but my kids go to school here. Listen, there are a lot of people who send their kids
to magnet programs
because of magnet programs that don't look like you and I, that don't have the same experiences. Because when I say the Black community, I'm talking about, the core and the heart of the Northwest. And just because your kids come in, that does not necessarily give you the right to come and dictate what should go on in my community. And so that's why I was offended by that. Like I said, Ethan goes to Pompano Beach High School. I would not go out there and try and tell them people in their community what to do. Just because my son goes there only 4 days out of the week for a couple of hours.
You better talk about it, because I was offended too. She kept on repeating, and I'm like, ma'am, but you don't live there. Like, what? Going to school.
And the other thing is, like, her kids are older. It's not like they're there now.
Right. So it's like a mute point. Why are we even discussing it? Why are you even bringing that up? I would listen. When the mayor says, "Did you buy that property specifically for this project in 2016?" Did that y'all started out for that? And she said, "Yes." I was floored. I was like, "Well, wait a minute now, because that's not what the community."
So let me say something real quick, because I'm gonna have to jump off, y'all. This is my anniversary. My 20th.
Oh yeah, you got to go. Yeah, we can't go. Sorry, Mrs. DeBose. Sorry.
No, she good. I was
actually sharing them with the people
just on another forum. We always on forum.
I just jumped on.
I jumped on. But let me say this though, because some folks are saying that all the electeds, we knew about this from the beginning and so forth. When I left the city commission in 2014 is when I left to go to Tallahassee, right? The school board owned that property, and they were talking about workforce housing for teachers. There's a shortage for teachers and they not getting paid amount. There were these creative ideas, and they were calling it workforce housing, which I personally thought and think is an excellent idea. And if the county want to do anything, they can revisit that. And so when this issue really became something, after this past session, and I'm out canvassing and I'm knocking on doors, and people are like, well, want no more. And I'm like, more? And people started explaining to me what was going on. Now, there was a meeting, I think the beginning of September, that I didn't make because there was a conflict. But from my understanding, Dale was there, Senator Thurston. So there were some electors there. The first meeting that I attended where everyone was together, everyone was talking about the issue, was not this past, the Thursday before at Lauderdale Manors.
Now, before that meeting, I knew about it because I'm out in the community and I'm hearing about it. But that was the first. So this whole thing about me knowing since 16 or not now, Commissioner McKenzie in his comments said that he was at a meeting in 2019. Now, maybe they confused him. I don't know. But there's no, come on. This is a more, listen, when I was on the commission, there were certain things that we stopped that did not happen. You know, Wingate, we kept with the city. They tried to put a charter school. We didn't allow that to happen. There are just certain things, unfortunately, when you represent the Black community, you just got to keep your hands and your thumbs and your toes and everything on, because one, the impact it has, you know, on the community. And some of it is not always just like this direct, tangible thing. There's so much rich history in our communities, and there's so much bad history in our community. And there's certain things that, you know, just because the EPA or there's a certain standard that they say it meets and it's okay, does not mean it's the best standard as far as our health, because we live in these communities, you know, like we call it Baby Wingate, but that's the one on 6th Strong that just recent settlement with the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I remember I was on the commission and we couldn't talk about it because we was in litigation and stuff. And Madam Attorney, you know what I'm talking about sometimes. But what was very interesting about that is that they were still testing the soils and they were still finding levels. But within that, they were still like notifying those residents. But I'm like, that community is right. Like, that's the community I live in. And that's the thing I can tell. So people sometimes try to say, hey, you know, this is just Bobby's being political. And so I kind of try to guide myself because I don't want it to be a political issue. But I'm like, in this congressional race, I am the only person that lives in this community. And so for me, I have to take that hat off and I have to be a resident. I have to be a father. I have to be a husband, and I'm going to be an advocate. And here's the other thing. I only lived 3 blocks from the first place I called home. When I left Broward General, yes, I'm a BG baby, I went to them green apartments, the ones you pass on Broward, right across from Dunkin' Donuts, back up in there on 2nd Street. That was home for me. And so, you know, dang right, I take this personal. And so for someone to try to couch it as me being political, that's not the case, because what comes first for me, you know, next to God, is my family. And, you know, and I think, you know, that's the unfortunate part, and it comes with the territory, but I don't care. I'm gonna still keep fighting. And they can take, that's why I told them, I said, let's just address the elephant in the room. This is not political. I got a 7-year-old son that is growing up. He has a longer time to grow up in the same community that his daddy grew up in. That's important to me.
Yes, it is. And let me tell you, and let's take it a step further, because we know you got to go, Rep. The community is the family, right? Because it takes a village. And we are Black people culturally. We look out for each other. We take care of each other's kids. We know what's going on down the street. We know each other's children. This is our community. These are our family. So when it's really important that people understand, in this congressional race, you live in your family, with your family, in the community that you're serving, right? All the other candidates move, and they here, there. Some of them may be living out of state. I don't know, but the point I'm trying to make is you live with the community that you serve. You know what I'm saying?
I heard folks might be living out of state. You know, I did hear that, but I don't know. I'm
just saying, that's
always starting trouble.
I go by what there was reports, and I just you know, that's what.
That's Nick, you're gonna get a call tonight.
You know,
people are blocked. I block people. I be blocked people. I don't get calls. Okay.
Let me say this though before I jump off. Again, I want to thank you all for this platform and what you're doing. Please keep doing this. Keep doing this beyond November 2nd. There's so much more work that needs to be done. I love when I'm out and I see y'all there, you know, especially knowing y'all have those busy schedules and y'all out there with the people. And it's important. We got to build this platform, continue to build it, and continue to support. because the issues that Black people have, you know, they're universal. Unfortunately, there's so much that's going on. One of the things, and I'll say this real quick, that during the presentation, you know, I only give you 5 minutes, so you try and get what you can. But there was one of the selling points outside the education piece. They were like, oh, and it's just so accessible to the highway. I almost fell out my chair. Why is it so dang on accessible to the highways? Because they ran them through the Black community.
Of course.
In the same area she talking about, getting on Sunrise right there, 95 and Sunrise, they running over dead bodies.
Yeah.
Woodland Cemetery, when I was there, they had this equipment where they could penetrate through the ground. In the right of way, they found bodies. And they were just, I mean, I was like, these people don't even do that.
They don't even understand
no sensitivity to what they're saying. You're talking about something they're against, and you're saying this is so great because before we did something they want to do, we ran a whole 95 through the community and destroyed
the community. And literally destroyed the community, right? Because that's what they did to Overtown. Overtown was everything. And then what they did, built I-95 smack down in the middle of it, brought the downtown and completely just brought that community on the ground. They're doing that. They did it in South Carolina too, you know, splitting up farms because they're like, we need a highway. They're like, but the farm has been in the family for 150 years. What are you talking about? Well, we need a highway, eminent domain. They get the highway, right? And they only do that to communities of color. That was Black farms that they're running through there. That was Overtown that they're doing. So yeah, they just don't get it. Like they just
get it. They get it. They know what they're doing.
So it's gonna be like a they don't care, you know, like you gonna just
they don't care.
I'm talking when you're talking about like 95. Come on, they knew what they were doing. There was no way you can run something that long through a community, different communities, and not know what you're doing.
Different Black communities, because they skipped some of the other ones. They kind of made some turns.
Say you first started and you ran through a city. Oh, my bad. You stop, right? You redirect or something. Come on, that was intentional. No one can convince me differently. I'm sorry on that one.
All right, go check out Mr. Bowes. Go check it out.
Consistently happens to communities of color.
That's right. That's right. Go check out Mr. Bowes. Take it out for a nice, beautiful, loving time for yourself. I loved her collage. That was beautiful. Yes. You all go have a good time. Thank you for coming. We may be doing
for the work.
You hop in. You know, we're gonna be putting the link in the chat all the time. Jump on anytime you want, Rep.
And so tell them early voting starts on Saturday.
What's that?
Tell them early voting starts on Saturday.
Well, that's right.
The ballots are already out. Election day, November 2nd. Come on now, politicians, show up before you go.
Early voting starts Saturday. Make sure you get out and vote. We have 6 locations. We have Tamarack, Miramar, African American, Lauderhill Mall, EPAT Larkins, and what am I missing? What about
the ones in Palm Beach?
South Regional Library.
And what about in Palm Beach?
Where's our Palm Beach locations? I have them.
They're doing early voting in Palm Beach too?
Yeah.
Yes, early voting starts at Wells Recreation Center, Summit Main Library, Palm Beach State College, Belglade Branch Library, and SOE West County Branch Office. There's 5.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can, the ballots came in the mail already. You can send them out.
Ballots been around for about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Early
the last
voting is
I
on
checked,
Saturday.
I think there were it's coming in slow. So we might be in Broward. I have to check for update, but it was somewhere around 10,000. So at one point it was 9,000 and something in Broward and a little under 2,000 Palm Beach. So that was a couple of days ago. So it's I don't know. I'll just take a guess, maybe 15,000.
Yeah, but people are going to start voting on Saturday. Folks want to come in. They're like, I don't trust the mail. Even though our SOE has this new tracking thing that you can do, it could track when the ballot's sent out, like when you send it back.
They've had that before.
They've had it before? Okay, because I know there's an app or something a text you can put on your phone for them to let you know. But absolutely, just
how can you be reached, Representative? What's your thing again?
He's still canvassing.
I'll give you my number, 954-547-1587. It's been the same number since I got elected on the city commission.
That's not the other number.
Now listen, that's the only number I got. Now I will tell you this though, you might have to leave a message or send a text because everybody got it. It gets full.
Well, we trying to make sure you get all your information out. And again, early voting on Saturday. Those who are going to vote, what number, what place you are on the ballot, sir?
You're number 1, 2, 3 because they talk. It's about 17 of y'all.
Yeah, I'm number 1 on the ballot. Number 2 in your heart.
I'm number. He said I'm last on the ballot, first on your heart, or something.
Yeah.
Okay, your last name is DeBose, so you should be like number 2 or number 2.
No. I am. What are we? 3. You know.
Okay, so he's number
ballot.
Number 3.
That's funny. I always laugh at that. Yeah, I think I'm number 3. What? We're number 3. Yeah. We're number 3 because I think it's Surplus, McCormick, Dowling, then DeBose.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's number 3.
So that's right. He said he's number 2. He's the number 2 on
I ain't doing all
number
that.
1 in your heart.
I think it's the one that said he's the last one on the ballot and he's number 1 in your heart or something like that.
No, that was Thurston.
Thurston is last on the ballot, first something. And Darlin's
you know what?
second
At the Jewish place, he said he's last on the ballot. The last shall be first.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, go take out your wife, your beautiful wife. Thank you for coming.
Yes, I'm gonna be late. I will see you guys later. I appreciate y'all.
All right, then.
Call me when you start talking about Wingate.
Yes.
Okay, we will.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
All
right, girl.
Let's do our wrap-ups.
Let's do the wrap-up.
I'm gonna remove.
Yeah.
Miss
Alexander, I thank her so much for coming and talking to us and giving us that update.
Absolutely.
We spent like 2 shows on this and it was important. We're going to continue. I will make a very strong effort, and I think I should be able to make it to Oswald Park on Saturday.
4, right?
It's at 4 o'clock. I think I should be able to. I know I have something. My son might have some games, so it depends on what that looks like.
My daughter has a party at 12, but I think I can make that 4 p.m.
Yeah. So if he doesn't have a game around that time, then we'll be out there supporting that community with this effort.
Absolutely. So final thought for me is listen, we lost Colin Powell a few days ago. And we lost him.
The people are conflicted. Some people are like he's a hero, and other people are saying he's a warmonger.
Oh yeah, well, he's a human being, and he may have made some mistakes, or not even mistakes. He may have made some bad decisions or whatever. But hey, who am I to judge? Because I make bad decisions all the time.
Some people have a job to do. It may not be pretty, but that's the job.
It is what it is. So he was a breakthrough case. He died from complications to COVID, but people need to understand that
he had other health issues too. He had like blood cancer.
He had melanoma, which was a blood cancer, which significantly basically obliterated his immune system.
Yeah.
So really what that looks like is people weren't wearing a mask. Okay. So, and this is the reason why we tell people that they should be wearing their mask. But listen, it's important that everybody gets vaccinated, and display precautions, social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands. I want to keep iterating that because we're still not over this hump with this pandemic. We're still in a pandemic. And I want people to be cognizant of that. The other point I want to make is, this is why it's important to be part of the political process. Mm-hmm. You need to be involved with your local elected officials. These people make decisions on your everyday life, as my coach has always drilled into my brain. As you can see, erecting a morgue into a community with children next to a school. This is what local elected officials, these are the type of powers that they have. One of the things that I've been saying, and I'm going to continue saying, is that the power is the power is with the people, not the people in power. We give them the power. We are the ones that elect them. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing in terms of representing us the right way and protecting us, then they don't get to keep their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. They just don't get to keep their jobs. And as you know, we're having a special election. Although the ballots are coming in, trickling in, you are making a very big decision on sending someone to Congress to represent you. It's important you learn about these candidates. 2 of the commissioners are on this ballot, Barbara Sharif and Dale Holenss. They are on the Broward Commission. They are on the same commission that allowed these shenanigans to go on. I'm not putting blame on anybody. I'm just lighting this up so you all can see it. Okay. So it's really, really important that you get involved.
Yeah, and one of those people on the Dale Holenss is the person that brought this agenda item forward, and he convinced his fellow commissioners to vote on this issue.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was his thing. He brought it. It's his district. He told them about it. They supported him because it was a item in. It was in his district himself. So they figured he did the proper vetting, and that was something what the people wanted. So that's all on him. That's all on him. He may have subcontracted out the work or whatever to get the information, but that's all on him.
It's all on him. And also your sheriff is also elected too. And your sheriff was at the meeting. And the meeting was yesterday. Please reach out to or go on the website, find the meeting. They are recorded. You can
watch them. Go to the end. Go to like my
all the way to the end.
The last 2 hours. That meeting was long.
And listen to and really listen to it and listen to how your elected officials behave that way. That's an indication of who they are.
Reach out to all of them, no matter where you live. Continue reaching out to those folks and tell them that this is unacceptable. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Tell them not to do it. Don't do it. Those
even
people
if you're not in that district,
they need a hospital or a community center, because the closest hospital to them is 25 minutes away. And I think that's in a car. Right, that's 25 minutes in a car. Imagine the people that don't have transportation, got to get on a bus or whatever. Like, they can't get there, so they need a medical facility there. The county can own that, and that's what they could put there. That's what the people are asking for. That's what they need to put there. Not no ME's office that's not going to benefit that neighborhood. That does absolutely nothing for that community. That's for the benefit of the county and the people that work there. That's not for that community. Absolutely not at all.
Y'all need to be part of this process. Y'all need to be part of this process, honey. Y'all need to be part of the process and electing people and then holding these people accountable. All right. They work for you. They're being insubordinate right now, just sitting there trying to erect whatever they want to erect. It doesn't work like that. Yep. So that's my piece. That's my 2 cents. Your last word.
And we need to get this done like quick, because because the other thing that we need to know is those individuals that are on that District 20 ballot, they had to resign to run. So
there's a current lawsuit.
Do all of this work, get that stuff out of there, and the next thing you know, whoever the 2 new people that the governor appoint, all of a sudden that place is back in the hood again. You know what I'm saying? Or back in that community, back in the neighborhood, back disrespecting Black people. So
just remember, there is a meeting November 4th. That's supposed to put this on the agenda to vote it, or to take it off. And we need
to reverse the decision to build on that site.
Yes, reverse. So that's 2 weeks away. This gives you 2 weeks to kind of get yourselves together and be prepared there to stay all day, because that's what it looked like. They be trying to outweight people.
Hopefully it'll be time certain. Hopefully it'll be time certain this time.
Hopefully it'll be time certain. But if not, be prepared to be there all day to support this community, because at the end of the day, Broward County is one big community, and we have to support one another no matter where it is, right? And so November 4th, please mark that on your calendar. Those meetings usually start at 10 a.m. in the morning. And depending on the agenda is always ready the day before. So you can always check to see where it is on the agenda and kind of give yourself some time to figure out when you should be there, right? But I think that
we saw that they allowed people to call in if they couldn't come in, so you can
register to call in. You can register to call in, and if you got to be on hold all day, then so be it. So if I can't make it, I will be registering to call that day. And if you're not in Mr. Holenss's district, but you have the other ones, one of them are yours, send them an email and let them know that you are not okay with what's going on.
Absolutely.
All right, co-host, your
listen. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today is not about the more, because also what happened today was Nicholas Cruz pled guilty to all 34 counts like 17 counts of murder, 17 counts of attempted murder, and it was more than 34. I think it was about 38. So, but 17 counts of attempted murder, 17 counts of first degree murder, and then he also pled guilty and was sentenced on the altercation that he had with the correctional officer at the jail, and the judge sentenced him to about like 25 years on that one. She maxed him on the battery on the Leo, and then he got 5 on, you know, all other stuff. It was just something else. I have some thoughts about that. We'll talk about that on a different show, because, you know, today's really not the day about that. We really want people to focus on this morgue. They could call it the ED or trauma center, whatever. This morgue being in that community, because again, that's just another example of the complete disregard of communities of color and what it is that people want. The people are telling the elected officials what they need. Give them what they need, not what you think they want. So come on, not even what they think they want, not what you want and what you need, because that is all about. That is for the county. That is not for the people. That is not for the people.
At all.
That facility is all about the county and what the county needs, and not what the people in that community need.
Talk about
it anywhere need. Go put that thing in a warehouse district somewhere. And if they got two locations, so be it. It's 2 locations.
Take it somewhere else.
Take it somewhere else.
All right. So we're gonna roll on out, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you for rolling with us. We were a little bit over.
Share this video to keep letting people know about what's happening with this morgue. There's an event, a town hall at Oswald Park, which is located at 2220 Northwest 21st Avenue in Fort Lauderdale on Saturday, October 23rd at 4 p.m. So if you got the time, know the folks, go ahead and check that out.
Absolutely. And like, share, and subscribe. And we were about 30-something minutes over our time, but we appreciate you all hanging with us. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week. As co-host mentioned, the Nicholas Cruz case, we'll be kind of looking at that a little bit. And then we have some other things. We met with Val Demings. Co-host and I. So we'll talk about a little bit about Val Demings coming up. And then we also want to ask, how many of you have been getting these text messages, you know, between Chris and Nikki Fried? I got a couple of those. I don't know what company is doing it, but we could talk about that a little bit and how that's going to impact us. Listen, 2022 is going to be another election year. And then we have 2024. That's going to be another election year. And we need to be on top of that and make sure that we make the right decisions for people to represent us, right? Yeah. So we're going to end here. We'll talk to you guys next week. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're on our Facebook page, like our page, share it. And look forward to talking to you all next week.
Yes. Right. Have a good one.
Good night.